Hi class. Hey, first I want to just apologize for the quality of this audio. I've resorted to some older technology so that I can get this video to you. I've had problems with my traditional approaches for some reason. I'll iron those out though, but this video might be a little bit less exciting. So I apologize. But the topic is relative, major, and minor scales. Now I told you before that every scale has a twin, right? And actually, two twins, if you consider the parallel minor and the relative minor for every major scale. But today I want to just focus on the combination of the major and minor relatives. So, as you can see on the dry erase board, I have drawn a scale. And it is the F major scale because it begins on F and it has the correct whole step and half step series. We can also see that it has the key signature of F major. Now, if in this scale I stop at scale degree 6, I can very quickly draw out the relative minor scale of F major. It is, in fact, all the same notes beginning on that note. That would be scale degree 6. So if I make scale degree 6 the bottom note instead, I now have the relative minor. So what is the relative minor of F major? It's D minor. Don't forget, it has the same key signature as F major. So D minor and F major are relative minor and major scales. Okay, get rid of that. Let's see now. I'm going to add a flat. Now I have a different key signature. Let's think of this in a different way. Every key signature has a major and a minor scale. Now we know this is B flat major because it has two flats in the key signature. Second to last flat is B flat, so it's the scale that begins on B flat. And the question is, what is the relative minor to B flat? Well, it has the same key signature, and it's the scale that begins on scale degree 6 of that scale. So I've circled G. If I rewrite that scale beginning on G, I will have shown the G minor scale, the relative minor of B flat. And remember, it has all the same notes from the key signature as B flat. So the key signature for B flat has two scales. It has B flat major and G minor. I know you thought that memorizing all your scales and keys was enough, right? Nope, I'm going to add a minor scale for each of those, so bear with it. Now, what key signature is this? That's right, it is E flat major. And here is the scale for E flat major. As I write this scale, though, I'm going to stop at the 6th note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's C. So in order to find the relative minor, I will write the scale beginning on that note, but I'll use the key signature of E flat major. And there it is. So I'm going to drop those flat symbols in there. My handsome assistant at the dry erase board. Good. That's C minor. So E flat major and C minor are relatives. Okay. Now we could keep going in this way. We could add a flat, but instead I'm going to surprise you. Let's do a different key altogether. Suppose I have this key signature. It has 3 sharps, and there are 2 scales that use that key signature. We know one of them really well. We know that the last sharp, if it's scale degree 7, indicates that A is the major scale for that key signature. So I write my scale on A, and I can drag and drop all those sharps in there to finish that scale, and I'll do that quickly. And I have the A major scale. There it is. I'm going to count up 6 notes and identify that note. That is F sharp. And that means if I rewrite that scale, but I begin on F sharp instead, I have the relative minor. Remember to use all those same sharps from the key signature. They all go in there. And now I have F sharp minor. So to recap, every key signature has 2 scales. One is major, one is minor. Those 2 scales are relatives. Okay. I pre-recorded this video, so let me see where we go next before I discuss. Oh, okay. So I've drawn the key signature for C major. Notice it is blank. There's nothing in it. Its relative minor is A minor. Well, if we've done well memorizing our key signatures, we know it's G major. But it's also E minor. G major and E minor are relatives. And I'll put it in a different way. Here we have the next key signature on our list. We've already memorized it as D major. It has 2 sharps. The relative minor for D major is B minor. B minor and D major are relatives. Now, all those minor scale names are the notes that are scale degree 6 in the major scale. So I'll rephrase this. Check this out. Here's the key signature for A major. It has 3 sharps. Scale degree 6 in A major is F sharp. Therefore, I know that F sharp minor is the relative minor to A major. So try to beat me to it. Here we have 4 sharps. That's E major. What's scale degree 6 in E major? Think about it. That's right, C sharp minor. So E major and C sharp minor are relatives. Here we have the key signature that has 5 sharps. That's B major. What's scale degree 6 in B major? Right. G sharp minor is the relative minor to B major. Very good. Okay, let's get rid of these. Let's go through the flats. What scale has exactly 1 flat in it? F major, you got it. If I drew that scale out, went to scale degree 6, I would find the note D. If I rewrite that scale beginning on D, it's D minor. Therefore, F major and D minor are relatives. Here's the key signature for B flat major and G minor. And here is the key signature for E flat major. And its relative minor is C minor. Did you name it in time? Good. So try to memorize your key signatures. But if you can't remember all the pairs of majors and relative minors, that's okay. Memorize the major scales because there are ways to figure out what the minor scale is. So here we have the key signature for A flat major. Its relative minor is F minor because that's the 6th scale degree in A flat major. And finally, the key signature that has 5 flats is D flat major. What's its scale degree 6? B flat, right. B flat minor is the relative minor of D flat major. In a later video, I'll show you what the whole step, half step composition of the minor scale is, and that could be another useful way of identifying major and minor scales. But for now, I want you to remember that each key signature applies to 2 different scales. One is major and one is minor. The majors are pretty much already taken care of. You've memorized those pretty well. Identifying the relative minor is the new thing. Now, just in case you're wondering, there is a mnemonic device comparable to fluffy cats go down alleyways eating birds for the minor scales, but it's a little bit clumsy if you ask me. So I'll show you right here, but I don't expect this to really help. I never found this very useful, but you never know. If this is something that you can cling to and say, oh yeah, that helps me remember it, then great. If not, don't worry about it. What it shows is that there's a circle of fifths for all the major scales. Those are the uppercase letters. And then there's a circle of fifths for the lower row of scales. Those are the minor scales written in lowercase. So you can see that there's a repeat right there. D, A, E, B happens in both series. And if you know where that offset is for those series, then you can figure out how the scales all pair up. Again, I don't like that approach. I find it clumsy, and it's also somewhat strange at the edges of the series. All right, you guys, so really easy this week. I'm going to give you a little quiz. I'm going to have you identify the minor scales as the relatives of certain major scales. 10 questions. It is timed, so be prepared. You might want to spell out those scales and have them in front of you, and you can refer to your notes as a reference as you answer the questions. I am totally fine with that. I love that if you can make some simple notes that you can use as a mnemonic device or a quick reference or a guide, and then being able to refer to it quickly is helping you memorize that content. And that's really important. So go with it, go with whatever works for you. I'll put up a discussion board. If you find that there are questions or things you want clarified, just put it on the discussion, make a thread. Or if you find that something works really well for you and something else doesn't, or there's even something you have found in your own research online that is really handy, share it with us. I love to hear that stuff. So anyway, I'm thinking about all of you. I wish we were all together today, but we'll reconvene someday. All right, have a good one. Cheers.